Right, so this is our second topic. The topic's called consumers and business. Right. The first lesson we've got to have is consumers in the market economy, and that word, market, having in a market economy is very important. It'll be very useful in a couple of seconds. Because so far we've looked at how economies work, how the whole economy works. We looked at circular flow of income. The next few weeks we'll look at ourselves, right? I try not to look at myself too much, it's depressing, but it's alright to look at ourselves as consumers. Yeah. And consumers are the people like us, who consume. And consume means to buy and to use goods and services to satisfy our needs and wants. Right? So if you have a need for food, you go and buy a good, you go and buy food, and economists call that consuming. They call it consumption. You go and buy something to satisfy that need. If you have a want for a car, you're going to do some more consumption spending. You're going to go and buy and use a car, right? So it's really, really straightforward. The first main idea that you need to get, and this is where that market economy idea comes in, is consumer sovereignty. Basically, we decide what gets produced by businesses. And it's not some crazy idea like, okay, you walk into a factory and you say, alright, I want you to make me 1,000 of these things right now. Yeah. Oh, I'd like you to make, high heel shoes for men right now. It's not like that. The way we do it is, firstly, we show what we want to buy by actually buying what we want. Yeah. So the iPod would never have caught on. Like, people wouldn't have bought it, and they wouldn't have kept making them if people hadn't already bought them. Right? So a business is going to try and maximize profits. They will produce more of what people want and less of what people don't want. They might not make them at all. Right? So as long as people keep wanting to buy them, and buying them, right, is the important part, businesses will keep making it. So every weird thing that you see in the shops, someone is buying it. Or people wouldn't be making it, businesses wouldn't make it. And the good thing is that generally they try to make it efficiently. They try to produce things efficiently because that means that they make even more money. Right? So they can make more outputs using less inputs, they'll make more money. Yeah. So we can look now at what consumers do. And as usual, for economists, we turn everyone into a formula. Right? That's us. That's our formula. Y equals C plus S. Yeah. I know sometimes, in my life, I think that, I feel like Y equals C plus S. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, thank you, economists. It does mean something. Yeah, we've already seen those letters before, but here it means something slightly different. Don't get it mixed up. Y here is disposable income. Right? Disposable income means after-tax income. Right? So we're not even thinking, we're pretending that tax doesn't exist, but it still gets taken out. Go figure. But at the moment, Y equals disposable income. The money that you have in the bank after the tax has already been taken out. We just assume that it's magical money that's gone bye-bye. Right? C is consumption expenditure, so spending on like food, TVs, cars. Yeah. And S is savings, but it's not national savings. It's not that train going off the tracks in the circular flow of income. It's your own individual savings. Right? And what it basically means is that we spend every cent, or we save. That's all we can do. So I get $500, a year because I'm a teacher. I'll either spend or save every cent of that. Yeah. It assumes we're not being taxed, or it assumes it knows that we are being taxed, this formula, but it just pretends that the tax doesn't go back to us in any way. Or, we don't even buy imports. Yeah. So it's sort of taking those things out of the circular flow. Yeah. So all you really need to know is when we get money, we either spend it or save it. That's it. Full stop. Let's just focus on the letter C. Today's letter is the letter C. What we can do is we can average out. Economists are always wondering, percentages and decimals and figures and fractions. So they like to average out how much we spend according to our income. Yeah, like when we got income last year, how much of it did we spend? And it's called our APC. Yeah, it's got an average propensity to consume. And propensity, don't be scared by the words here. Learn how to spell them and say them. Propensity. If you have the propensity to do something, you have the tendency to do it. Basically, if I paid you for coming to class, this is how much of that money I paid you that you would tend to spend. Yeah, the average amount that you would tend to spend. And the formula is pretty easy. It's just like any other fraction. It's how much you spent over how much you had. Yeah. So, if you were given $1,000 and you spent $900 of it, the fraction would be 900 over 1,000. Yeah, really simple, 9 over 10. So the APC would be 90%, or 0.9 as a decimal. But if you're following what's going on, you'll realise that we can only work out the APC after we've watched people spend that money. Once we know how much someone's already spent, we can divide it by their income, work out their APC. Really simple. Really simple. But the problem is, we want to predict what they'll spend. Yeah, we don't want to know, like that you spent 72% of your income last year. Yeah. But we don't want to know that you saved 28%. We want to know how much you're going to spend next year. Yeah, that's what economists get paid for. So, to get to this decision part of the topic, we've got to do a bit of maths about how consumers decide to spend their income. And it means we have to split C up, yeah, into 2 parts. So there's 2 parts of what we buy.